Hello and welcome to Sister, You're Not Alone. I am your host, Maia Meyer, and this is our very first podcast episode. So welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in. So I am super excited to be starting this podcast and a little nervous because this is something brand new for me, but I am ready to dive right in and really excited to bring you all of our amazing interviews that we're going to be having and really get the word out about bleeding disorders and how they affect women in particular. So what I want to talk about today in this first episode is more a little bit about my history, I guess, and where I'm coming from with it and why I wanted to start this podcast and what led me to, this avenue to get the word out. So I am 42, just turned actually last week, and I have an inherited bleeding disorder. So I'll talk a little bit about bleeding disorders in general. You may not have heard of them before. A lot of people haven't, but they can be more common than you sometimes think. And a bleeding disorder is basically a group of conditions where blood it doesn't clot properly. So our blood is normally made up of different proteins, and that helps the blood to stop bleeding when you have like a cut or an injury or something like that happens. But when you have a bleeding disorder, one of those proteins is either missing or it's low or it's not functioning the way it should. And so normally it should work together with other things in our blood, like platelets, stuff like that, to help form a clot and stop bleeding. But because of the disorder, the clot may either take longer to form or the way it should. It doesn't form properly the way it should. So it's kind of like a slow leak that takes a lot longer to heal than a person who doesn't have a bleeding disorder. So as I said, this is an inherited disorder. So I've had it my whole life. I knew about it, fortunately, when I was younger because I was diagnosed with it as a child, and I have quite a strong family history. So my family was, checking that and testing all of us when we were younger to see if we did have this gene.